Welcome to the Off the Pitch podcast.
Let's get started.
Hello and welcome back to the Off the Pitch. I'm Hannah Morales, your host, bringing you the latest in football with all the passion and insight you've come to expect. Joining me today, as always, is our brilliant football analyst, the one and only Gaffers Gesselsees. Gaffer, it's been a whirlwind summer, hasn't it?
It certainly has, Hannah. The transfer window's been a proper roller coaster. Deals flying left, right, and center, managers under pressure, and fans losing their minds on social media. But if there's one story dominating headlines right now, it's got to be Manchester United and Ruben Amorim's bold vision to stay at Old Trafford for the next 20 years. That's a statement, isn't it?
Massive statement, Gaffer. 20 years? That's Sir Alex Ferguson territory. Amorim's coming off a brutal first season. 15th place, United's worst in 51 years, 7 wins in 27 Premier League games. Yet here he is, talking about building a dynasty. Let's start there. What's your take on his ambition? It's bold, Hannah, but it's not just bravado. Amorim's got a track record of defying odds. Look at Sporting Lisbon, where he was given a 3% chance of winning the title and still pulled it off. He's not naive. He knows results dictate everything, and he admits he burned through a lot of goodwill last season. But the 20-year talk, it's less about predicting his tenure and more about signaling intent. He's here to build something lasting, not just patch up the cracks. He's trying to shift the culture at United, and that's where the real work begins.
Culture's a big word at United these days, isn't it? Amorim's been banging on about it, and we've heard it from players like Luke Shaw and Diogo Dalot, too. Shaw said there are no stragglers in the squad anymore, and Dalot talked about a group that fights for each other. What's changed on the ground to make them so optimistic after such a dire season? It's a mix of ruthless pruning and clever delegation, Hannah. Amorim's taken a leaf out of Pep Guardiola's book, creating a 6-man leadership group. Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire, Lissandro Martinez, Diogo Dalot, Nozer Mazraoui, and Tom Hayton to police the dressing room. This isn't just about offloading deadwood like Rashford, Garnacho, Sancho, Antony, and Malacia, who've been frozen out. It's about empowering players to take ownership. Last season, Amorim was firefighting small issues himself. Now he's handed that responsibility to his senior players, saying, "You deal with it." That's a cultural reset. Less hand-holding, more accountability.
I love that shift. It's like he's saying, you're grown men, sort it out. But let's talk about those frozen-out players, the so-called bomb squad. Rashford's on loan at Barcelona, and Garnacho, Sancho, Antony, and Malacia are facing the exit door. Chelsea's eyeing Garnacho, Juventus and Dortmund are sniffing around Sancho. How does this purge reshape United's squad and their tactical setup? It's a seismic shift, Hannah. Amorim's 3-4-2-1 system demands high-intensity, cohesive play, and he's clearly decided these players don't fit. Rashford's loan to Barcelona suggests United are open to moving high-profile names if the mentality isn't right. Garnacho's a talented lad, but Amorim's public call-out after the Europa League final telling him to, quote, pray he finds a new club shows there's no room for ego. Tactically, this purge clears space for players who buy into his high-pressing, structured approach. The signings of Brian Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha for $133.5 million combined are massive. Both are proven Premier League performers, bringing pace, work rate, and goal-scoring loose. Mbeumo's versatility and Cunha's flair fit perfectly into those attacking midfield roles behind a central striker in Amorim's system. Let's dive into those signings. Mbeumo and Cunha, $71 million and $62.5 million respectively. United targeted Premier League proven players rather than rolling the dice on untested talent. Why go that route? And how do these additions address last season's chronic goal-scoring issues?
It's pragmatic, Hannah. United scored just 44 goals in 38 games last season. That's half of Liverpool's total. That's abysmal for a club of their stature. Amorim's gone for Mbeumo and Cunha because they've already proven they can handle the Premier League's physicality and pace. Mbeumo's got 22 goals and 15 assists in the last 2 seasons at Brentford, and Cunha's hit 19 goals for Wolves in a side that wasn't exactly free scoring. They're not just goal scorers, they're relentless in pressing, which is non-negotiable in Amorim's 3-4-2-1 system. Compare that to someone like Rasmus Højlund, who's been linked with a loan to RB Leipzig. Højlund's got potential, but he's raw, and Amorim can't afford to wait for him to develop when United are starting from 15th.
Fair point. And then there's the pursuit of Benjamin Sesko from Red Bull Leipzig. United are in talks, though they haven't made a formal bid yet, while Newcastle have tabbled £69.8 million. What's the strategic thinking behind chasing a young striker like Sesko over, say, a proven goal scorer like Ollie Watkins?
It's a calculated gamble, Hannah. Sesko's only 22, but he's already shown he can score in the Bundesliga. 12 goals last season for Leipzig. He's 6'4", mobile, and has a knack for getting into dangerous positions, which makes him a perfect fit for Amorim's system where the striker needs to stretch defenses and link play. Watkins is 29, proven, but his price tag would likely be north of £80 million, and United have already spent big. Sesko's a long-term investment, cheaper, with higher upside. The risk is he's untested in the Premier League, but Amorim's banking on his adaptability, especially since United can buy without selling first, thanks to their financial muscle.
That financial muscle is a big talking point. Amorim said, "We have money without the Champions League," and the club has backed him with £133.5 million on Buembo and Cunha. But Liverpool and Manchester City have spent nearly £500 million combined this summer. Can United compete with that kind of firepower?
It's tough, Hannah, but United's strategy is different. Liverpool and City are retooling title-contending squads, splashing cash to maintain dominance. United are rebuilding from a low base, so they're being selective, targeting players who fit Amorim's vision rather than chasing marquee names for the sake of it. The £133.5 million spend is significant, but it's not reckless. Buembo and Cunha are proven low-risk signings, and Sesko's potential move is about future-proofing. United's financial clout, bolstered by Sir Jim Ratcliffe's investment, means they can keep spending, especially if they offload players like Højlund or Sancho. The key is getting back into Europe, which boosts revenue and attracts better talent. Speaking of Ratcliffe, I'm fascinated by Amorim's no-bullshit relationship with him. Gifts on WhatsApp, blunt conversations. Ratcliffe even jokingly said Amorim tells him to fuck off when they discuss what's going wrong. How does this dynamic influence United's direction? It's refreshing, Hannah. Ratcliffe is a straight talker, and Amorim matches that energy. Their WhatsApp banter, gifts and all, shows a level of trust that's rare between a manager and owner. Ratcliffe has backed Amorim through a torrid season, which is almost unheard of for a big club losing as many games as United did. That support, combined with the arrivals of Omar Barada as CEO and Jason Wilcox as director of football, signals a unified vision. Amorim is not just managing the team, he's part of a broader project to redefine United's identity. Ratcliffe's cost-cutting, 450 jobs gone, shows he's ruthless, but his faith in Amorim suggests he's betting on the manager's ability to deliver long-term.
Let's zoom out and compare United's approach to other clubs. Liverpool, for instance, have broken their transfer record for Florian Wirtz at £100 million, and they rejected a £110 million bid from Newcastle for Alexander Isak. How does United's strategy stack up against Liverpool's?
Liverpool's playing a different game, Hannah. They're fresh off a Premier League title, so their focus is on sustaining excellence. Wirtz is a generational talent, creative, versatile, and ready to slot into Arne Slot's system. Keeping Isak, despite Newcastle's interest, shows they're not dismantling their core. United, on the other hand, are in rebuild mode. They're not chasing statement signings like Wirtz. They're building a squad that fits Amorim's 3-4-2-1 and addresses specific weaknesses like goal scoring and pressing intensity. Liverpool's spending is about staying at the top. United's is about climbing back there. It's a long road, but Amorim's focus on culture and tactical discipline gives them a foundation.
And what about Newcastle? They're in the race for Sesko too, and they've signed Aaron Ramsdale on loan while dealing with Isak's unrest. Eddie Howe called the Isak situation far from ideal. How's their strategy shaping up?
Newcastle's in a tricky spot, Hannah. Their £69.8 million bid for Sesko shows ambition, but Isak's desire to leave, training alone in Spain, skipping their preseason tour, could derail them. Losing Callum Wilson to West Ham leaves them thin up top, with only Will Azula as a recognized striker. Howe's emphasis on quality over quantity is smart, but missing out on targets like Liam Delap and Joel Pedro hurts. United have the edge here because their project under Amorim feels more cohesive. Newcastle's recruitment seems reactive. scrambling to replace key players rather than building around them.
Let's talk fan reactions. United fans must be cautiously optimistic after last season's nightmare. Amorim's charm, the new signings, and this preseason buzz, 2-1 over West Ham, 4-1 against Bournemouth, have lifted spirits. But how are fans processing this cultural reset?
Fans are split, Hannah. On X, you've got some calling Amorim the second coming of Ferguson for his charisma and ruthlessness, while others are skeptical, pointing to last season's 15th place finish and saying talk is cheap. The preseason wins have helped, especially seeing Mbeumo and Cunha integrate quickly, but fans are wary of false dawns. United have had too many. The decision to freeze out Rashford and Garnacho has sparked debate. Some see it as necessary to enforce standards, others think it's risky to alienate talent. The real test comes early. Arsenal, City, and Chelsea in the first 5 games, then Liverpool at Anfield. Fans will judge Amorim on those results.
Those are brutal fixtures. Amorim admitted last season he went to games knowing we would struggle. He can't afford that feeling again. How's he preparing the team to avoid another collapse?
He's doubling down on tactical clarity and physicality, Hannah. The preseason walkthroughs Dalot mentioned are key. Amorim's gelling specific movements to make his 3-4-2-1 second nature. The West Ham and Bournemouth games showed a higher press and more aggression, which wasn't there last season. He's also banking on his leadership group to maintain discipline. The signings of Mbeumo and Cunha add dynamism, and if Sesko joins, he'll stretch defenses, creating space for the attacking midfielders. But the midfield's still a concern, Hannah. Manuel Ugarte and Kobe Mainu are talented, but they lack the elite mobility of, say, a Kante. Amorim's working on their positional awareness to compensate, but it's a work in progress.
Let's touch on the emotional side. Amorim's openness about last season's struggles, feeling defenseless and frustrated, humanizes him. And then there's Diogo Dalot's tribute to Diogo Jota, who tragically passed away. How do these personal stories shape the narrative around United? They're huge, Hannah. Amorim's candor about dreading match days last season shows vulnerability, which resonates with fans tired of robotic managers. It's not just talk. He's backed it up by making tough calls, like freezing out big names. Dalot's tribute to Jota, who died at 28 in a car accident, adds a layer of perspective. Jota was a role model for Dalot, and his loss has hit the football world hard. Liverpool retiring Jota's number 20 shirt and planning a memorial shows the impact he had. For United, it's a reminder to cherish the moment and fight for something bigger than results. It's galvanizing the squad to play with heart. Absolutely. It puts everything in perspective. Let's wrap up with a look at the broader Premier League picture. Chelsea are chasing USNT stars and broke the women's transfer record for Naomi Girma. Tottenham are losing Son Heung-min after 10 years. How do these moves compare to United's?
Chelsea's women's team is going all in, Hannah. Signing Girma and targeting more USNT stars is a statement. They're aiming for UWCL glory by blending American talent with their core. It's bold, like United's men's signings, but Chelsea's women are already a powerhouse, so it's about dominance, not rebuilding. Tottenham losing Son is a blow. He's their captain and talisman. Their pursuit of João Palhinha on loan from Bayern shows they're trying to plug gaps, but it's less cohesive than United's strategy. United's focus on culture, proven signings, and a clear system gives them a slight edge in terms of direction. But the Premier League's a beast. Everyone's loading up. It's going to be a wild season, Gaffer. Any final thoughts on United's chances under Amorim? They're not title contenders yet, Hannah, but Amorim is laying a foundation. If Mbeumo and Cunha hit the ground running, and if Sesko joins, they could push for top 6. The key is consistency, avoiding the dread Amorim felt last season. With Ratcliffe's backing and a unified squad, United can climb, but those early fixtures will test them. I'm cautiously optimistic. They're moving in the right direction.
Love that optimism, Gaffer. That's all we've got time for today on the Off the Pitch. Thanks for joining us, and a big shout out to Gaffer's Gesselsees for breaking it all down. We'll be back next week to dissect the opening Premier League fixtures. Until then, keep the passion alive, and we'll see you on the pitch.
Cheers, Hannah. Let's see if United can start strong. Catch you next time.
Thanks for listening and subscribe for my channel.